guys, how are you? Welcome to day 3. I did not iron this top. I really don't like ironing. I really don't like ironing. I just feel the need to give you a full disclosure. I did not iron this top, just in case it wasn't immediately apparent. Would love to know how you are in the comments. Let me know how you are in the comments. Let me know what's up, what's new. Let me know any breakthroughs that you've had since day 2. Let me know if you can hear me and see me nice and clearly. Just shift that, there we go. Let me know as you hop on so I can say hey and celebrate you being here. Woot woot. All right, 1 second. I don't know why I've got the do. Sometimes I'm super kooky. So let me know where you're at. Let me know how you are. I'm just going to shift this a little bit. Getting my ergonomics all sorted. That's better. That is much more ergonomically friendly. Alright, so let me know how you are. Let me know any breakthroughs since yesterday. Let me know if you can hear me nice and clearly. That would be super much appreciated. I'm just checking to see if let me know. Hi Zoe, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi Patricia, how are you? Welcome to today's training. It's amazing to have you here. Bex is here too. Hey, hey. Let me know where you're at. Let me know any additional breakthroughs that you've had since yesterday or since Monday. Anything that you haven't shared so far, I'd love to know. I'd love to celebrate you. Do a little wiggle. And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how to have an amazing sales mindset and reset easily with your sales mindset anytime, anywhere, including even if you feel totally disheartened and defeated about selling. And we're also going to talk about the number one thing that you can do during initial conversations, any initial conversations with a potential client, to enhance if they're an ideal client and it's genuinely a fit for them to buy your services, to enhance lifetime customer value and to virtually eliminate refund requests and drop-offs. Yeah, a lot of what we've been covering so far is really going to help you to reduce any drop-offs and to reduce the likelihood of any non-ideal clients buying your services and then being a nightmare to deal with. We can never disappear it completely, especially if you have a business where you're dealing with a lot of people, with a high volume of people. There's going to be situations where non-ideal people come through, and you're going to have a strategy for dealing with that, right? But we can absolutely reduce the likelihood of you getting into a position where you're working with non-ideal customers, non-ideal clients, or where your team are working with non-ideal customers, non-ideal clients, or where non-ideal customers and non-ideal clients are buying your online programs and then, you know, bashing them, which has never happened to me, but personally I've heard of it happening. Can someone do me a favour? Can you just tag, Andrea's just sent me a message, Andrea Garvey. Could you just tag Andrea Garvey, who's in the group, Garvey? Could you just tag her? That would be fantastic. Alright, I'm just sending some invites. Okay, great. Oh, you're here now. Fantastic. Welcome. So, yeah, a lot of the things that we talk about are going to reduce the likelihood of that happening. By the way, for all of you, if you haven't gone into the group settings and click to receive all notifications, make sure you go into the group settings, click to receive all notifications, and that way you will receive a pop-up when I go live with tomorrow and Friday's training. So if you do that, that will help, so that you're not like sitting there like, has she begun? Has she not begun? Hi Ellie, welcome. All right, so yeah, working with having non-ideal people buy your services and also getting refund requests can be incredibly disheartening. Yeah, no worries, Andrea, it might have just been a Facebook glitch. Can be incredibly disheartening and incredibly depressing, right? And so as much as we can do to avoid that, the better. Equally, it's also not the end of the world. If it does happen, you can totally deal with it in an appropriate way that is empowering for you. Yeah. I probably will do a deeper training on how to manage dealing with non-ideal customers who are already customers, and dealing with refund requests. I probably will do a separate training on that in the Align Business Mastermind. But so those of you who are in there, I will do that. So your sales mindset. One of the most important elements to having a really good sales mindset is this kind of delicate balance between having one eye on the numbers and having clear objectives and goals with regard to the numbers, and also practicing the art of unattachment. So practice of keeping an eye on the numbers, being committed to the numbers, knowing that the numbers are non-negotiable, whilst not letting the numbers consume your every thought. I think I'm back. Will you just let me know in the comments if I'm back? If you could just let me know in the comments if I'm back, that would be amazing. Don't know what's going on. So, as I was saying, so if we are too focused on the numbers in the moment, it has the capacity to actually sabotage our sales activities, yeah? So what that might look like is, let's say that you're going into a meeting and you're really, really worried about, thanks Bex, yay, I'm back. Let's say you're going into a meeting and you're really, really worried. You've got your revenue goal in your mind, you're a little bit behind on your revenue goal, and you're like, yeah? If that's at the forefront of your mind, then you're going to go into that meeting and you're not going to be as present with the human being in front of you. Now, remember what we said on day one. On day one, what we said is that relationship building and connecting deeply, building a relationship, connecting deeply, making sure that that other person knows that you see them, that you understand them, and that you understand their goals and their needs relevant to your services. That is the most important component to successful selling, okay? So taking that into consideration, if we're obsessed with the numbers and we're consumed with the numbers and we're worried about the numbers, that's going to actually detract, paradoxically, as of course is always the case with anxiety or worry, that's actually going to adversely affect the results that we're able to create, because it's taking us out of the moment, out of the moment in which we're being present with that person, be it on the phone, be it in person, and it's taking us into our head. Yeah, and when we're in our head, we cannot be in our head, going round and round in circles in our head, or worrying in our head, and be totally present with the person in front of us. It's just not possible, okay? And so one of the most important ways to reset your sales mindset, anywhere, anytime, any place, is to remind yourself of the true meaning of sales. The true meaning of sales is building relationships, is connecting, and is identifying if the person that's in front of you, again, be it in person, on the phone, via email, if that person's goals are compatible with your services and your services are compatible with their goals, then offering them your services, yeah, and not doing it if they aren't, okay? And if you're not sure, then asking more questions so that you can be sure, okay? That's what sales is really about. Sales is really about, okay, how can I build a relationship with a person? How can I deeply understand this person's needs or this organization's needs if the person you're speaking to is a representative of an organization and the service that you're selling is for that organization versus for an individual, or it's for a group. That is the purpose of sales. Okay, so one of the most important ways to reset your sales mindset, to remind yourself, why do I actually care about sales? I care about sales because I want to help more human beings. I care about sales because I want to help more X achieve Y. And X achieve Y is the thing that we worked on together in Monday's training, which is effectively your elevator pitch. Yeah, I help X with Y. So the purpose of selling is in order for you to be able to help X with Y. Yeah, the purpose of selling is not to sell. The purpose of selling is not to sell. The purpose of selling is because when you sell, you help more people. Yeah? When you sell, you help more people. You give them what they need. You give them what they want, what they desire, and you receive money in exchange for that. Yeah? And what they need and what they desire may be met by a product. It may be met by a home study program. It may be met by one-to-one interaction with you. It may be met by one-to-one interaction with one of your team. It may be met by a group program. It may be met by you creating a document for them or creating some other kind of digital asset for them. That's the purpose of sales. The purpose of sales is to be able to help that person with that which is important to them in that moment, okay? Now, one of the most important ways to minimize drop-offs is to minimize refund requests and to minimize people getting remorse when they purchase your services or they purchase your product and they get it home. One of the best ways to minimize refund requests is twofold. One is what I just touched on just now, which is to make sure that you really understand where they're at, what their goals are and what their challenges are pertinent to your offering. If you've done this well, you will know with absolute certainty that your offering is an amazing fit for them. And it's going to be very, very, very unlikely that you get a refund request. Okay? If you haven't done this properly, your likelihood of getting a refund request is going to be much, much higher. So you want to ask the right questions. Asking the right questions in that initial conversation, again, like I said, whether it's via phone, email, WhatsApp, in person, doesn't matter. Asking the right questions is going to be absolutely integral to achieving this, to making sure that you are selling them what they need and what's the best fit for them, and also to reducing refund requests. So a few questions that can help with this are literally very basic questions like, what's your biggest challenge right now? What's your biggest opportunity right now? So the way that I have it set up is before someone books an initial call with me, they have to answer those questions in Calendly before we even have the call. So I will dig deeper into their specific challenges and opportunities pertinent to my area of expertise in the call. But before the call even happens, I know what their number one challenge is and what their number one opportunity is in their business. So I know that ahead of time and they're clear on that. And if they're not clear on that, they're not going to complete the form and we're not going to jump on the phone. So you want to ask questions like that before you spend any time with them. So you might ask that question via email, you might ask that question via message, you might ask that question in a Calendly form if that's aligned for your business. Again, if Calendly is aligned for your business, go to calendly.com. It is a online, calendar management system where people can book directly in your calendar. It syncs with Gmail, it syncs with Outlook, it syncs with whatever your email provider is, so it knows when you're free and not free. And you can create buffer time so that it's not possible to book calls back to back, all of that good stuff. So I highly recommend it. I've used it for 3.5 years. I used You Can Book Me for a bit, youcanbook.me, but Calendly is much, much better. Okay, so you want to make sure in that form, or if they're making an inquiry via email, they might be submitting a form on your website. I want to be very clear. What's your number one challenge? What's your number one opportunity? And be specific about the area. So if you're a relationship coach, you want to ask, what's your number one relationship challenge? And if you are a leadership coach, you want to ask, what's your number one leadership challenge? Yeah. Then in the conversation, in the initial call, you want to go deeper into that. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. What's that like for you? What's the impact of that? And when you do this well, and people can really feel that you're listening and using mirroring skills, and so mirroring is somebody says something and you say, wow, I can really tell that that's affecting you, or I can really tell that that's bothering you. You're mirroring their feelings, you're mirroring their thoughts back to them. Empaths tend to do this naturally, and empaths who've been trained as coaches do this even better, okay? But you don't necessarily have to be professionally trained as a coach in order to be great at mirroring. When you are listening deeply, you've put your own stuff to the side, you've put your ego stuff to the side, you've put any codependency stuff to the side, you've put whatever your to-do list was before the call to the side, and you're just deeply grounded in that moment, and you are listening, and you ask those questions, and you use mirroring, you will massively, massively, massively reduce the likelihood of refund requests or drop-offs or people disappearing. Now, I want to be very clear, it doesn't have to be you doing this. If your business is very large and you have team members who will have these kind of enrollment conversations, or you have specialist salespeople in your team, they can do this for you. Okay, it doesn't have to be you, but this has to be done well if you want to reduce the likelihood of drop-offs. Like I said, drop-offs are not the end of the world, but they're also not ideal, right? And they're expensive, okay? And they're not just expensive for you, but they're also expensive for that individual, because if they've signed up for the wrong thing, then, it's just not great. What we also want to do is we want to make sure the more ideal people who are ready for our services and are going to be able to benefit from our services the best, the more of those that we have, the better outcomes they're going to get. So let's say I'm a lawyer and I specialize in criminal law, and I make sure that whether it's me or another member of my team, that the right questions are asked, before I ever have contact with that individual. So I know at the point at which I have contact with them, we've ticked the boxes in terms of, yep, their challenges are compatible with what I offer. My specialism is relevant to what they're facing. Then by the time you get on the phone with them, you know that there's a good chance it's going to be a good fit. And then you go deeper into that. They're going to be way more likely an ideal client who is a great fit for your services, and your services are a great fit for them. They're going to be way, way, way more likely to recommend other ideal clients to your business. Guess what happens with non-ideal clients? Non-ideal clients will either be consistently unhappy because your services were not what they needed in the first place, or weren't the best fit for what they needed in the first place. Or maybe there's just a chemistry incompatibility, like an energetic kind of chemistry incompatibility, like your personalities clash or whatever. When that happens, they will either, like I said, drop off, or they'll just sort of complain the whole time and they won't have the same experience and they won't get the same outcome. But also, if they do recommend people to your business, if they do recommend your services to people, they're more likely to recommend your services to people who are going to be a nightmare to deal with. So whenever you're having a conversation with a potential customer, a potential client, you want to remember this is not just about the opportunity to support them relevant to your area of expertise, but you're also remembering that it's also about potentially, if you do your job and you do it well, and if they're receptive and, they implement, if there's any implementation required on their part, they implement, then they are likely to also recommend other ideal customers and other ideal clients to you, who then you also get to help, you also get to support, they also get positive outcomes. They get the outcomes that they wanted, and maybe they get the outcomes that they wanted and even more. Yeah? So it's never just about, oh, there's this person in front of me. Yeah, it's important to be deeply present with whoever's in front of us. But we always have to remember that there's that opportunity there and there's that possibility there that they will recommend others. And we always want to be open to that possibility, and we will always want to be open to receiving it and be in the mindset of thinking, well, of course, if this person has a fantastic experience, of course, if this person is happy with the service that I provide or the service that my team provides, of course they're going to recommend other ideal customers. Of course they're going to recommend other ideal clients, because why would they not? Because they want their contacts to have what they want and to have what they need, right? When we have networks, social networks, professional networks, we naturally want our social and professional networks to thrive, because the more our network thrives, the more we thrive, and we all bounce off each other. And so they're going to want their network to thrive. And if you've given them a great experience, they're also going to want you to thrive. They're going to feel a sense of gratitude. They're going to feel a sense of appreciation. They're going to feel a sense of, well, yeah, of course I've paid for this, but I also want to give back because this was amazing. Okay? And once you've been working with someone for a little while, what you may find actually quite early on, someone says to you, oh, hey, I've got this friend who I think could also really benefit from your services. Can I connect you to? And of course you'll say, yeah, of course, I'd love that. I'd love to help your friend. Yeah. It's great to also ask the question, what does your friend need? And they may not know the exact details, but they'll know, oh, my friend's having a legal issue as well. Yeah. So what will happen is, if you're doing a great job, a lot of people will just automatically say that. But there are some people who won't. It just won't cross their mind. They are so caught up in their own to-do list, in their own stuff, it just won't have crossed their mind to make an introduction. And so if you have space to take on additional clients, additional customers, or your team have space to take on additional customers or clients, then actually asking the question, hey, who do you know who needs me? Or do you know someone else who needs me? Like, let's say that you're a relationship coach. Do you know another high achieving woman who really wants to find love, who really wants to find meaningful, lasting, sustainable love? If you do, I would love for you to introduce us, because the more women I can help with this work, the better. Yeah? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And when you say that, and that other person can feel that you're not saying that because you want to make more sales. You're saying it because you want to help people. You want to help X achieve Y. And like I said again, X achieve Y is the thing that we defined together on Monday. You want to help X achieve Y. So of course, any opportunity that you have to ask your ideal clients, your existing clients, potential clients, who they know who is X that wants Y, then of course it's a no-brainer. You're going to do it, because remember, in the sales process, you are able to consciously put your ego to one side. So sometimes the ego can hold us back. Sometimes the ego can go, oh, no, don't ask your client if they know an X that needs Y, because they might say, well, no, I don't know anyone, even if they do. Or they might think that you're being cheeky, or they might think that you're pestering them, or whatever else that your ego is going to say, right? Egos can say all sorts of garbage, okay? Bless them. Bless our egos. But because you have learned in yesterday's training how to notice your ego coming up, notice how the ego doesn't want to be rejected, notice how the ego is like a hungry monster that just wants to be fed all the time, you can notice that and you can go, no, we're not going there. This is not about me. This is not about my ego. This is about X people who need Y, and I know that I can help them with that. So it is my sacred duty to share my services. It is my sacred duty to ask my connections who they know who needs that. And it is my sacred duty to do that in a way that is confident, in a way that is gracious, and to put my ego to one side. Beck says that's so powerful when you think about it like that. And Susie says this definitely ups our mindfulness in communication. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So really effective selling is absolutely a form of deep, deep mindfulness and presence in the moment. And the more present we are in the moment, the more mindful we are with our language, the more mindful we are and tuned in we are to the nuances of the individual in front of us and their needs, the better we're going to be at selling. Now, where this also comes up is the more tapped in we are to what they need, the more tapped in we are to what they want, the more precise we can be in what offering we recommend. Yeah? So you might be recommending your one-to-one offering, you might be recommending a group offering, you might be recommending a mastermind offering. I know we've got lots of coaches in here, so that's why I'm sharing those. You might be recommending, I've just had a mind blank. You will recommend a different offering depending on what you hear about their needs. So for example, I have 5 online programs, online home study programs that can be bought anytime, anywhere, any place, and consumed anytime, anywhere, any place, whether or not I'm available. Now, if someone messages me and they say, hey, I'd really like to have a conversation with you, and based on the information they provide, it's clearly not a fit for us to do one-to-one work yet, I would recommend to them, based on what I understand, again, either by a message, email or phone, what I understand to be what they need, I would potentially recommend a home study program. Even if I know that in the moment that program is going to, them purchasing that program is going to bring less cash in the bank for me in that moment, if I know that that program is going to be the best fit for where they're at, what I know is, number one, that has integrity. Number two, they're going to get more juice and more benefit from that program because it's the best fit for where they're at currently. And number three, if it is the best fit for where they're at currently, it's going to actually help them become more ready and more prepared to then do a higher level program. So just because in the moment it might be the case that you make less revenue from that sale, doesn't mean that you are going to make less revenue overall. What we have to remember is lifetime customer value. Lifetime customer value means that you're looking at the value of that customer over the lifetime of them being your customer. And so very often a customer might come in and purchase, a low-end offering, purchase one thing. I recently needed a signature for something from a solicitor. She charged me £5, right? Super low end, but I now know, because I could trust her with that, and all the other solicitors were like, nope, sorry, we're not doing signatures right now. But because I knew that I could trust her with that, I was able to organise it quickly, easily for the very next day. It was £5. They had a great setup to enable social distancing, like it was in the car park. I now know that solicitors will be my first point of call if I need any other support with any kind of legal matter, because I've already bought that lower end thing from them and know that they've delivered it, well. Okay, so it'll be the same thing with you. Some people who have their ego stuff going on will be all focused on, okay, how can I sell the most high ticket thing to this person in this moment? How can I make the most possible money from this person right now? And guess what that does? When you do that, you're being inauthentic, there's a lack of integrity, and you're actually sabotaging that lifetime customer value, because when people know that you are recommending to them the thing that's the best fit for where they're at right now, regardless of whether it makes you less money in the moment, you are cultivating long-term loyalty, you are cultivating trust, you're cultivating connection, and they know that they're in safe hands. They know that they're not just in hands that want to see how much of their money they can hold on to or grasp. They know that they're in safe hands, and they know that you actually care about what's right for them. And that is truly priceless. And it truly blows my mind how many organizations and how many individuals are not oriented that way. But that's all part of why I do what I do, because I know that there are people who want to master this, want to come to me and master this. And I also know that the people who do master this, it's much easier to be in the top 20%, the top 10%, the top 5%, the top 1% of business owners in the world when you are cultivating these sustainable and ethical practices. So that's it for today. Does anyone have any questions, feedbacks, comments, thoughts? Did you say I want to help? Yeah, so what I said is You might say to someone, do you know any other X that need Y? Because I really want to help as many X achieve Y as possible. That's the format that you would use. All right, any other questions? A really valuable conversation totally shifts the way I will approach new contracts and my offerings. Thank you. Yay, you're so welcome. And look, for lots of you, you've already been doing some of this in your conversations. And so what I'm sharing is going to be reaffirming stuff you're already doing. Some of it is going to be that you are receiving new language that you can use to do things that you were already feeling inclined to do. Or, you know, you're getting reassurance right now that, yeah, actually, you can totally sell the aligned and the ethical way, and you can totally sell in a way that has integrity and have it work even better and have it cultivate even more lifetime customer value than it would have before. This really opens up the importance of getting it right at the beginning and focusing on abundance of people. Yes, not thinking I have to get anyone in the door, as you never know where it's going to go. Completely. You can see how if somebody's in ego and they're focused on getting somebody in the door, like getting anyone in the door, like, I have to meet this like 10K revenue goal right now or I'm going to die, how they can end up with a business that is filled with people that are just a nightmare to work with. And by the way, people who are a nightmare to work with, it doesn't necessarily mean they're inherently a nightmare. They might just be a nightmare to work with because they're not, like, your services aren't the best fit for them. Okay, so this isn't about judging the other people. It's just about recognizing where the compatibility lies. Who are your services compatible with and who are they not compatible with? And doing that in a way that is clear, and where there's also this piece of surrender on your part where you're like, I trust, I just don't need to bring in anyone where the fit isn't there. It's safe for me to do that because there is an abundance of people who do need that, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.